I've always known there's something. I quickly became aware of this God who knew me and who wanted a relationship with me.
A lot of the love in this world is conditional, but Jesus is different. He loves you because that's just who Jesus is. He's replaced my anxiety with his unconditional love for me.
Home to me is about family. Family is all about comfort and supporting one another.
No matter what I've done or said, he welcomes us into his family with open arms.
Really nice, Stephen.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Would you welcome Cara Bennett? So Cara, it's very exciting to hear all about Zena. So first, let's hear a little about you. So you founded Zena in 2016?
Yeah, that's right.
And how old were you then?
I was 21. So hands up who's 21.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. It's just that final year. It was my final year of uni.
Final year of uni, amazing. And that's quite a brave thing to do in your final year of uni, like to actually start a company. Most people are trying to write an essay or do a project, but you actually started a company as well. And what was it that kind of sparked that in you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually was doing my dissertation on, it was a critique, actually, of women's empowerment. And it was like a post-colonial approach, actually, to some maybe examples of where charity doesn't maybe help or creates dependency or power hierarchy. And my question was, is there a way of doing it without that negative angle? Is there a way of having a constructive approach where you really can see human flourishing without maybe those really harmful effects of your classic white saviorism and the terrible things left over? So that was my question.
Yeah.
That was what really led me in interest to it. Yeah.
And then tell us about the company itself. So what's the idea you came up with to avoid some of those pitfalls, but still to empower and raise up people?
Yeah, okay, so basically Zena is founded on the single premise that investing in female entrepreneurs has the power to rewrite stories of extreme poverty and gender inequality. And basically what that means is that we believe that actually women in rural communities should be the ones holding the reins of change. So maybe not an external organization, but actually these women themselves should be the ones who hold the power to make change. So usually the problems female entrepreneurs are facing is access to capital and access to education. And we're trying to avoid dependency. So we do no loans and no handouts. But instead, we figured that employment could be a really exciting and amazing way of seeing women access capital, where they have the agency and empowered to know that they don't need to thank anyone, they don't owe anyone anything, they earned it themselves. So we created this model of partnership where women work with us for 2 years making those earrings. Fionn, you looked amazing. During that time, they're able to save 60% of their salary. 40% puts them really well above the poverty line, it's a really good living wage. And then 60% is saved each month so that when they come to the end of working with us, 18 months, 2 years, they've got enough money to go and start their businesses.
And you make all sorts of jewelry. So you're wearing a necklace. There's also earrings. And they've been worn by some relatively famous people. So give us some examples.
I don't know if anyone knows Grace Beverley. If anyone's a kind of fitness influencer world,
a couple
female,
of very quiet
she's awesome.
shouts at the back. Just one person who almost did it and then thought they were on their own. So, but shout out to that person who knows Grace Beverley, and or you're hiding now.
She has 1 million followers. That was a really big deal for us.
Yeah, that's a lot. Wow. And is that her now?
Yeah, that's her.
That's her. Okay,
she raised £5.4 million for her most recent round of investment, and she wore our earrings that are called the Payday Playday earrings.
Amazing. So that's Grace Beverley. Anyone else?
Yeah, and then Lizzo wore our earrings. I think there's a picture. Yeah, and this was honestly the best day of my life because I didn't know she was going to do this, and that was at the Harry Styles concert in LA.
Anyone heard of Lizzo? BTS. Anyone a Lizzo fan? Yeah, quite a lot. Anyone a Harry Styles fan? No, not so much. Okay, Lizzo's on the up. Harry Styles. Okay, that's good to know. Wow, so she just wore your earrings and then okay.
She loved them as well. You can tell.
Yeah, she's got a happy face. And will anyone else pick up on that? Did they?
Oh yeah, and then that really reputable publication, the Daily Mail, wrote a cute thing for us, which was.
Wow. Okay.
And Lizzo is a fan. Like, that is so nice that they said that.
And you've also been featured in Grazia and GQ.
Grazia and GQ, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so so you've talked a bit about trying to avoid dependency and hierarchy. I mean, what gave you the confidence at 21 to start this business? Because I imagine it's one thing to say, I'm going to get a job. It's quite terrifying to get a job at 21. But when you start a business, it's probably really terrifying. I mean, what have been the scariest things?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think the first part of your question, what gave me the confidence? I'm a Christian, as you probably can expect, and my faith absolutely is at the beginning and center of the why behind what I do, why I do what I do. In the Bible, Jesus really cares about people from all kinds of levels of society, especially the poor, and it gave me the confidence because I believed that I wasn't on my own in it. Almost like I had God's backing and God's like sign off on it. And you know, if you believe God is the creator of the universe, who knows you and made you, then that's like a pretty good person to have on your side. And then the fear around it and the challenges, yeah, it was challenging. I actually reflected the other day. I think I didn't know what fear was until we had people on payroll. I didn't think I'd experienced that level of, obviously quite a lot of responsibility when you've got people who really are relying on you fully. Like, that's kids' schooling, like they're supporting their partners, like that's their health insurance, that's their food, like having people on payroll. Yeah, it took me a while to learn like to sleep well again. Like at the beginning when we were hiring people, and I would know like payrolls next week. Have we got it? Are we sure we've got the money? Okay, good. Okay, and then next month, okay, have we got that? How many months in advance have we got? And you know, and that was at the beginning, and now the team is growing. We've got 50 people on payroll now, and that's, you know, I think I've got better at it. But there, of course, have been some really touch and go moments for us as an organisation, where I've experienced high levels of worry and high levels of fear.
Yeah, I imagine what are some of the most difficult days you faced? I imagine sometimes it's so terrifying you just want to put your head under the pillow and go back to bed. Or
Yeah, no, I mean, as you can probably imagine, COVID was a nightmare for us. We actually, in the first week, that like March 12th, 2020, March 13th, 2020, we kind of had 40% of our projected revenue of the next 2 quarters slashed. There were some department stores we were working with in the States that cancelled our orders, and a lot of the markets that we were due to be selling our jewelry at were cancelled as well. And that for us was, I thought we'd lost it all. And yeah, I did actually struggle to get out of bed for a period there. My mum had to kind of, come on, get up. So yeah, that was scary.
And but what are the kind of, I imagine along the way you've also seen real encouragements as well. And where are some of the ways? I mean, you talk in a way that might surprise people quite freely about God helping out and God being with you on this journey. And it feels like you almost have like a close personal relationship, like someone might talk about their mate. And so what does that look like in practice for you? What are some of the ways you've experienced that?
Yeah, oh my gosh, absolutely. For example, right at the beginning of the journey, there was a period, I was finishing off my uni degree, but my co-founder was actually living in Uganda at the time, and she was staying in a hotel. The big kind of box that we needed to tick was finding the first place we were going to start and finding a partner organization who would work with us. And yeah, it was challenging. And she was like literally hitchhiking around Uganda. And if you've been to Uganda, you know that there's kind of those like blue taxis, matatus, just kind of jumping in those, getting people like literally like thumb up on the side of the road. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, this Mzungu, like what is she doing? And running around. And she's calling me in my like lectures and stuff, being like, okay, this is really challenging. And it was taking a lot longer than we thought. And we were running out of money really fast because she was staying in a hotel. And we worked out we kind of had a few days left before she would need to actually, you know, fly home because it would kind of be game over. And we decided, okay, if we don't find a solution within these next few days, it's game over. And the next morning, Lauren got a phone call from someone that she didn't know that well. She'd met one time, a lady called Betty, a Ugandan chef. And Betty said on the phone, hi, Lauren, I don't know if you remember me. We met at that wedding. And then she said, where are you staying at the moment? And Lauren said, I'm actually in a hotel. And Betty said, yeah, I had a dream last night and God told me you need to come and stay at my house. And so Lauren then got that extra time and she stayed with Betty for the next few months while we figured out that. And, you know, that is one of so many stories where God has totally come through in a moment of real need. The Bible is so clear. It says, seek first the kingdom of God and everything else will be added unto you. And that we just cling on to that and we just say to God, like, Lord, if this is your business, this is not our business, this is your business, this is your work. God cares about the restoration of broken things and he invites us to partner with him in this like adventure of seeing him move. And yeah, it's his problem. And he came through for us in that occasion and so many others. So,
And I guess it's founded on the conviction that God really cares about the people that you're coming alongside and empowering.
Yeah, I think so. I think we get this extraordinary privilege of getting to be a part of the opportunities that he's working through the women. They're employing individuals in their businesses. They are starting peer support groups for gender-based violence. Like the women that we get the chance to work with are genuinely changing the fabric of their community and of generations to come. And I think God loves what they're doing. And if he needs to get Lauren a place to stay so that we can keep doing that, I believe that he works in those ways.
So good. And I think any other examples?
Yeah. So another example, we were told really early on, like selling jewelry is really difficult. If anyone is interested in the fashion industry, you guys will know like it's so cutthroat. It really is like devil wears Prada out there. And we were told by our publicist, guys, you won't get into because we were having to sell like loads of this stuff. There's like lots of people that we have to support. So we have to sell so many earrings to make it work. And so we figured, okay, a pretty good way to do that is to get into a department store. And we set a challenge, or we said to God, like, hey, Lord, like, we need to be in a department store by our second birthday as a brand. But our advisor, our publicist that we were working for at the time said, you will never get into a department store before your brand is 3 years old, because unless you're like a celebrity, they don't trust small vendors. Like, you need to have a really good track record for a big department store to take you on. And this is in New York. So this is, you know, Bloomingdale's like the flagship. And we decided to pray. We thought God could do it. So there's a story in the Bible where the Israelites walk around Jericho, the city, 7 times every day. God tells them to pray and walk around this city. So we read that and we thought, okay, let's take God at his word. And so I think, and we probably looked a bit crazy, but we decided, okay, we're going to walk around Bloomingdale's, the flagship, in Manhattan every single day for like 7 times a day. 7 times in a row every day, and we did it for 10 days, and we were busy. So this was it actually took quite a long time. Those blocks were kind of big, and we would actually change floors because it was kind of embarrassing because the security guard was like watching us.
You're walking inside the store?
Yeah, so we would do like...
I thought you meant outside the store.
No, we did that as well. So we would go kind of we would decide, like, okay, first and second is outside, and then we'll do like ladies, then we'll do like lingerie.
And they didn't arrest you for shoplifting or anything like that?
No, I think that they did start worrying that we were like casing the place every day, 7 times a day, and sometimes we were really working hard. Like, we had meetings at Condé Nast and at Vogue and stuff, so we were running around the city, and you're wearing like heels and stuff, girls. So I'm not. It's like walking around that 7 times a day. That's serious pain. So we were praying, and we had high levels of faith that God would move. The final day we were in New York, we got an email from our publicist, and he said, girls, I don't know how I've done it, but you've got a 9 a.m. at Bloomingdale's with the fashion director. We didn't have time to plan our outfits. We just ran across town, had got into the offices and started laying out our products. Oh, we were so nervous. Oh, gosh, I'll never forget it. We were laying out our products, and the fashion director came in, and she didn't even introduce herself before she asked her executive assistant, can you get the buyer for me, please? And so she goes and she gets the buyer. And just to preface, like, our publicist again had said, this is just an introduction. You cannot try to sell to them. They will think you have no experience. Like, you are not going to get a sale out of this. This is just an introduction. Anyway, the buyer came in, and they had this little conversation where they were just like, I know exactly where this needs to go. Like, this is what we've been looking for. And it turned out that summer they were doing a specific showcase, and they were looking for our material. We work in recycled horn. They there and then put in an order of, it was about £15,000, $20,000 with exclusives, which is absolutely not heard of. And in the elevator on the way down, our publicist said, I've been in this industry 25 years. I've never seen anything like that happen. And we launched that summer in 4 doors. And then in the September, we turned 2.
Amazing. Amazing. And what would you say to someone who's like, you know, fashion's quite a cutthroat industry. What is it that's made you entrepreneurial and creative? How does that spark? Because sometimes people think, oh, you know, Christian, why would a Christian be creative? Or, you know, why would someone who believes in Jesus be creative? What is it that's made you, given you that passion to, coming alongside those who are marginalized and oppressed, actually having the creativity and entrepreneurial ability to innovate?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely at the center of God's character. Like, we believe that God is a creator God, that he created everyone here in this room, that you were designed by a loving Father, creator God. And so also we believe that he created us in his image, and therefore we have that creative nature. And yeah, I think that idea that actually what God is able to build through us, I think he's so excited about it, and it gives us the freedom to dream. And you know, that freedom, like, this is such an adventure, and I sometimes feel high levels of fear, but my faith keeps me going and roots me to keep going, because I know that actually at the end of the day, this is God's work. So in some ways, the freedom is off of me. I'm not the center of this story. This is God's job. This is God's work. And that's such a fun place to be in. Like, I'm not the CEO of this business. God is the CEO of this business. I say that every single day. And our whole, you know, organization and strategy is basically built around this idea that God's real. He's going to do what he said he would do.
Amazing. And what would you say to someone here tonight who's like, you're talking about God a lot, you've mentioned Jesus, like, what is so amazing about Jesus? I just wonder for you personally, what's so amazing about Jesus?
There's a lot. I think Jesus knows me better than I know myself, and I've seen that in this walk with Zena through, you know, with God. And he does what he says he will do in his word. Every time I'm asking of something, I'm praying for something, it's an extraordinary moment when God comes through, and he does immeasurably more than we could ask or imagine. It says that in his word, and that is so true. And he gives good gifts to his children. This isn't a God who is kind of keeping you on a tight leash. Jesus says, I came so that they might have life, and life to the full. And that's been my experience, that this is a God who has invited me into richness of life, into adventure. I always think with Zena, it's a little bit like a dad with his child wanting to build something, like maybe play Lego or something, and remembering that actually, like, it's like sometimes to me feels like building this business, Zena, is a little bit like the thing that I do with my dad, like playing Lego almost. We build this thing together, and relationship is at the center of it, an intimate one with him.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Cara. Now